Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at Oklo. It is time for another update. And on this chart, our life has not been made easier just yet. The structure, especially within this area, remains highly complex. And we have a few options, out of which only one does really represent a strong buying opportunity in my opinion. Now, let's provide some context. Previously, we have been tracking this idea of a potential initial 5V move to the upside. We have been considering a wave 1 top. Sure, we've been also considering a possible extension of this wave 1. Technically still possible. Realistically, I would be rather waiting to see how this further unfolds. But primarily, the buy zone on this chart for me resides in this orange support box between $64.5 down to $50.8. Technically, this correction could have initially completed here, but since it had failed to form a more reliable pattern that would resemble an actual impulse, we have been rather inclined to believe that we would need a reset within this wave 2, because since we have 5 waves up in our wave 1, we expect to be building an impulse in the next wave to the upside if it is indeed to follow this orange path of building a wave 3, right? If the wave 1 is 5 waves, the wave 3 is expected to be an impulse, not a diagonal structure. So once again, I would expect a reset within this wave 2 in orange. This is where the strongest opportunity resides for me on this chart. And in this interpretation, we could see substantial downside still to be had. Keep in mind, we don't need to create the most clear pattern within such a correction. It is perfectly possible to build significantly more complex corrections, and this shouldn't be too much of a surprise given the structure that is currently unfolding in this area. So, in reality, it could be something like a WXY pattern where we might be building something like an ABC structure, or where the wave X or even this wave B realistically could have topped here instead, where it failed to form a higher high. Nonetheless, the idea is this correction fails to give clear indications of a path forward, and what is most reliable to track in such scenarios is in fact the levels of support, not the count itself. It is actually generally better to focus on the levels of support rather than the count itself, because even when it is more clear, difficulties can still be had throughout such developments. Primarily, I would be definitely watching levels of resistance in such an interpretation up to $77.6, and only if we get a sustained break above that do we really start to have more faith in a potential direct breakout. For now, I still believe we need to be quite careful as the pattern remains difficult. Now, let's move to the other scenario that would allow direct extensions to higher prices, where once again, I do not trust that to be a trade setup, but rather I could consider this as a core position area, where I know that I need to be within this stock. I need to have a position in this stock because I believe in the sector, I believe in its potential, I don't want to be left out, I don't want to feel FOMO later on, as we would possibly extend directly higher. Now, the thing is, within this path, I struggle to see more than an A, B, C pattern to be in formation here. I could see less. Again, I could see this being an internal wave 5 of a larger wave 1, but not more. Once we would have this wave C complete, there's a good chance we would see a pretty substantial correction. Not even that, but even if I were to look for a position within this area, where would I place my stop loss? Would I place it below this yellow area of support? But that would be within the orange area of support, right? Only once this yellow structure would start to be suggesting a failure would I get into the zone of the real trade setup. So, this, in my opinion, has to be a significantly safer strategy that is employed here, right? This structure could succeed, it could take place, it could deliver to us a wave 3 right now, we could see then a wave 4 and a wave 5, and possibly even have the price double as a result of that. But once more, it's not going to be the most reliable pattern, it doesn't need to deliver that much, And once more, realistically, it could do even a lot less than this wave C before starting a larger correction, because it is still possible to only get a wave 5 in this structure. So to be clear, I'm seeing this as a core position potentially, if you know you have to be in this stock. If we break the levels of resistance I have just provided here in orange, up to $77.6, we could be looking at a breakout to have become significantly more likely. Now, in the developments internally, we have a quite difficult structure to track. I can consider this to have been an A-B-C pattern within a wave A. I could just consider this to be a 3-wave pattern within a wave 1. I would have then the possibility to track this as a potential wave 2 correction, but I actually do not really like this interpretation too much. And we have broken above the resistance levels we would have for something like a 1-2 setup here, but we haven't formed a higher high. Then we have pushed lower, we have broken internal levels of support I would need to be tracking for such an interpretation. A quite sustained break, so at this point, I actually still have to prefer at least a reset within a wave 2. Then, as we can quite clearly see here, another option of what could be built within this movement is a triangle indeed. I could see this as something like an A, B, C, D, E, that would allow even a bottom to be in, and the wave C to potentially be starting only from these levels. But I still don't have a high probability setup here. I don't have a high probability structure that would be suggesting to me we should extend to higher prices. And in other stocks in this sector, I also prefer extensions to lower prices. This does not mean they will happen, which is why if I were interested to have a core position, I wouldn't dismiss this as an opportunity. But as a summary, the structure remains quite difficult, and while direct extensions to higher prices are a possible reality, the trade setup for me really only starts in the larger orange area of support. And if we manage to break here $66.5 and have a sustained break below this, take out these previous lows, it would be a quite strong indication that this orange wave 2 is going to see a reset. And for now, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and if you enjoyed the content and want to support it directly, check out the channel membership, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.